thinking they have it, and now they got a great nightmare. My dad paid it off. I know he did, but you don't have the proof. You have that letter that you paid it off. Yes, you laid it down somewhere and it's lost. Unless it's released in the courthouse, they're going to have a nightmare trying to get rid of it. I'm not telling from what I've heard, talking from serious experience. People have had terrible nightmares with this. So no, it doesn't apply to you. Please pass it on. Certificate of satisfaction. When it closes, aggravate the mortgage company or the bank until you get it. They got to record it in the courthouse. Hope it helps somebody today. Back in the day when I go to a church, they say, if I've done something to help you, we're going to pass the plate around. So I'm not going to do that today. Join me with the pledge, for the pledge. I pledge to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, JC. And we have our mic back, so yay. Now I would like to ask Val Brown to come to introduce our guest.
Hello, everyone. I'm Val Brown. For those of you I have not yet met, I am the Executive Director for the Greater Williamson Road Area Business Association. And I came back to do this again today because I had much fun last week. And I thought to come back as well. So, what John says. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest today. And again, we have on the second sheet. So this is wonderful. We're excited about that. And when I call him in, very end. So first, my first guest is Linda Jensen, and her host is Andre Brooks. Linda has an application, so I just want everybody to know that. Jordan Bell, Antonio is a guest, Greg Weinberger, and I love the share. I'm Jim Gray, yes, Jeff Book. And I love Steve from her guest, Shelky, Kelsey Granfield, Jim Cornett, Bill Miller, and Harvey. So as an aside, I challenge the rest of you to try to beat that. Ann Seddon is also a guest. We're not done yet. Ann Seddon is also a guest. And she's the guest, Betsy DeHaan. Chip Wright. Chip Wright. And thank you. Thank you, Val. Now, so, Johnson is the best player yesterday. So, thank you, President Joyce. Let's see what our guest today. Things
you know, to attend the luncheon or to participate in a service project. We call that sharing the K. And today we're going to recognize Sherry Hartman for sharing the K with Tom Banford. She was invited to join our Kiwanis Club, and we're going to induct right now. Come on forward. There's a couple of you that have their applications in today. Watch closely. All right, Sherry, Tom, please.
Thank you, Don. It's got some to um, in Virginia. Person right here. His talents, I don't have any excuses for. So. His application, he indicated that for us because you have a heart for service and for friendship. So join me in Tom Benford.
A little closer, please. My arms aren't that long, Tom. Nice to have you in the club. I want to welcome you. You've received a thorough orientation about expectations of Kiwanis, but if you've got a heart for service, I think you're going to fit right in. So, welcome. I have a few things for you, Tom. But first of all, I'm going to give you this pair of work gloves because work gloves come in handy when we do our service projects. We might be picking up trash. We use different gloves when we have a one day, but those gloves are symbolic of what we do as Kiwanians. And I want you to think about that when you put your hand in those gloves with the little, think about the good things we do for the less fortunate in our community. And our ring finger signifies the circle of friends that you're going to make in this club. Friends that new friends, old friends. With your middle finger, our middle finger stands above the others on our hand, doesn't it? And this club stands above other service organizations in our community. You could have joined, but you didn't. We're glad to have you. Our index finger points the way to a better community through our service projects. And when we finish one of those, we're going to give a thumbs up, right? Makes sense. So think about that with those gloves on. Still fun. The rest of your swag. Yeah, there's some help. This is me. This is your Kiwanis pin that you put on your lapel. It is the Kiwanis Christmas ornament. So there you are. You'll remember the badge. And in this Kiwanis bag is information about our 501c3 foundation that we hope you consider supporting. It supports this club with almost $60,000 towards our service project. So our Kiwanis Foundation is worth supporting. There's also a directory with some other information that I think is going to be helpful to you. So as I give this to you, let's all stand, put our fingers and hands together, and welcome Tom Banford. Welcome.
Thank you for joining us today. We're happy to have you. Now, we have the what we want to do is, as Jean would say, give the money away. We have 3 donations today. Down.
Thank you. That's the sponsors and the representatives from the 3 nonprofits to come forward. We're going to ask each sponsor to introduce the person who's representing the agency, and then we're going to ask the agency person to tell us a little bit about what they're going to do with the money. Yeah, Don, you know.
Because we're on a tight timetable, I'm going to be really brief and say I'm John Montgomery. I'm the sponsor for the Bethany Christian Church, who has a program we've supported a number of years, the Community Table. And I'd like to ask Amanda Perry, the moderator of Bethany Christian Church, to say a few words as we give her the check.
Thank you, everyone, and good afternoon. I wrote a little speech. I'm going to talk really, really fast because I didn't know how much time I'd have. So as you mentioned, I'm a moderator at Bethany Christian Church, where we strive to be the hands and feet of Christ. We are a smaller congregation, but like to refer to ourselves as small but mighty because of the outreach we do within the community. One of our biggest impacts we have is on the community is through our community table, which we have been able to host for the last 8 years. We are incredibly honored and grateful to accept this grant today. Your generous support means the world to us, and more importantly, to the many families in our community who rely on our monthly community table initiative. All grant money we receive directly helps us to provide our essential meal bags. The funds received by this grant will be providing each family with a turkey breast as part of their Thanksgiving meal bag that we are preparing. The meal bags are prepared are not just bags of food. They are ways to show love and support to our neighbors who are going through tough times. Every single bag is carefully put together with healthy food and delivered with a message of hope. We strive to do more than just feed people. We create connections. The meal bags help to build a bridge that links individuals and families to a caring community, reminding them that they matter and they're not alone. In a world that can feel a bit isolating sometimes, these simple gestures really build bonds and strengthen our community. Your generosity will make a real difference. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you again for the incredible generosity. Thank you for believing in the power of community, for seeing the needs of our neighbors, and for being such a great partner in our mission to serve. Together we can we're truly making a difference, one meal bag, one connection, and one hopeful moment at a time. Thank you.
I want to introduce Bethany Christian is, I'm sorry, Memorial is Betsy Bohan.
I will be introducing on 7 at this church. Talking about our Pakistan, which we've been doing for years. We do every weekend. And on Sunday, we're told to put down our saints now, but you know, saints are supposed to be there. I will put incense down because she is such a wonderful human being. So here she is to tell you about our Pakistan. Thank you, Betsy, and thank you for having me this afternoon. I represent the church, and we have a program where we pack every Sunday after church 9 bags of about 6 or 7 items that we take over to Morningside Elementary School. That's not a real big school. It's in a working class neighborhood. Wonderful, wonderful children and parents. So we take those bags over. The children get free breakfast and free lunch every day, but they don't have anything on the weekends frequently. So we do these 90 bags every week, and it's about $800 a month to do this. So we are most grateful for the grant that the Kiwanis Club has given us, and I thank you very, very much.
The next group we introduce is Apple Ridge Farms.
Thank you again. I'm J.C. Taylor. I want to introduce Jordan Bell here. Apple Ridge Farms. I wish I could invite you all there, and I hope Jordan will give you an opportunity to come and visit Apple Ridge Farm. They don't just give money, they give love, hands-on love. If you could go up there and see what they do. I made one visit and to see what they are doing, and every month, ever since, there's been a donation from my account going to Apple Ridge Farm. I'm very proud of it, and I feel very honored to introduce Jordan here today.
Mr. Grayson, and thank you for your continued support of Apple Ridge Farm. I always tell people I have the honor of continuing the work of Peter Lewis, so many of you know that individual. He would be here today, but Mr. Lewis came out of retirement and went back to work. So he's working over at Grandin Court Elementary School a few days out of the week. But we are thankful for your continued support. This past summer, we had 150 children at Apple Ridge Farm for 6 weeks. We provide transportation, breakfast, and lunch. They're able to go swimming, hiking, play basketball, tennis. They do STEM projects. They work in the garden. And this year, they went canoeing. We had 2 canoes up at Apple Ridge Farm in our pond. So we are grateful for the continued support that the Kiwanis Club and many people in the community have been able to provide for us. And as Mr. Lewis always says, Apple Ridge Farm is a magic carpet ride for any young kid that wants to come up to Apple Ridge. But when you come up to Apple Ridge, it is also your magic carpet ride. So we would love to have you up at Apple Ridge Farm to see what we are doing. Thank you again.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Got the Picture project. And Jill, do you stand up again? Do this project every year, family services to help the Grand Angels. You can either give money, a check to Jill. It's the QR code on the table that's on this to give money. Last year we gave $1,000, so we're into our pockets a little bit. This week was our first take, and the 12th is the last take, right? So please give some money to Jill. Okay. Andre has an announcement. I'm Andre Brooks. I'm chair of the fund committee. Sometimes when I'm at one of these meetings, I get tired listening to all the work that we do, but I'm so very proud of everything we do for our community, and I just love being part of that, and that's why I'm a member of Kiwanis. But it's time to have fun. How about some margaritas tomorrow night at Roanoke? Or some enchiladas or tacos or whatever your favorite is. So we'll meet at Everydale on Electric Road in Bremerton, the one on the hill. And it's just a pop-up party, just come and we'll get there about 5:30 or 6 whenever you can after work or whenever you're ready. And we will just have a good, fun time. Let me see a show of hands of how many people think they might be coming. Thank you. And I also want to announce we're having a Christmas party. Since we're not going to go to the theater this year, we thought we needed to have a gathering of Kiwanis and our friends and spouses to celebrate Christmas. And we're going to do it on December 9th. We have a location, and I'll be bringing you more news about that in the next few weeks. But plan to put December 9th on your calendar. Thank you. I have officers meeting tomorrow, 10:30 at Roanoke Presbyterian Church, and at the Water Authority. Sherry, would you like to comment?
Okay.
I just want to call your attention to an event that we have mentioned before, but there is clarification about its location. So it is not at the nature park. It is actually at this Shining Stars Montessori program. It's in our watershed for our Hortons branch, so it benefits the nature park. But if you can join us, please do November 8th at 10. And this is, the address is 2750 Hoover Street, and actually it's already on the website, I think, with the correct address on it. But you can come and roll up your sleeves and make a difference during the members of the community this Saturday at 10. Thank you, Sherry. All right. Stores. It is over. You just have to pick up. So, John, on Saturday. But monsters. Something to take your lobster home in and stay, or you're gonna stay forever. So we need to have a civil out as well, but you need to come get your lobster. So don't forget about the lobsters. Toast Tuesday. And
Thank you, Joyce. I'm just here today to remind you all that Thanksgiving is not far away, which means that the Adult Care Center will have its annual Thanksgiving meal for all of our participants and some of their family members. It's a big crowd, much bigger than we normally have, and it's been a tradition here at Kiwanis to provide some of the volunteers to help us take care of the larger crowd. So I have put sign-up sheets on your table if you would consider being a volunteer. I should say that we've sort of learned the hard way sometimes that we've been blessed to have more volunteers than we could productively put to good use. And we don't want to have that happen. I think it's only fair if you give up your time and can come, that you can help do something and not feel like a potted plant. So we'd love to have at least and around a dozen folks to come help us out. If it turns out we need more, we'll get back in touch with you. But thank you for your consideration, and we look forward to seeing you.
well, it sounds like it's come first serve. All right, because in time, we have 3 flags that can come up and please come forward.
Good afternoon, fellow Kiwanians. I'm Will Bliblin, and I am here to make a contribution to the Kiwanis Foundation. First, I want to say that several of you have inquired how I got this bandage on my right cheek. Some think I got in a brawl at the neighborhood pub, but I've had basal cell carcinoma extracted, and things are going well, so I'm doing fine. I want to hold out. The foundation is one of my favorite 501c3 organizations. My birthday contribution this year was based on 82 years of celebrating the anniversary of my birth. And with that, I'm presenting a check to John Montgomery, who is the secretary of the foundation. And I also have $2 for the brag box. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. As several of you know, in 2022, I returned back to the banking industry. I joined a well-run and very popular community bank, American National, which was headquartered in Danville. So I thought I had found my forever work home, but in 2023, it was announced that the bank had been acquired. And last January, I was picked up by Atlantic National. Atlantic Union, so many banks. So I was having a fun time there when I got a call from a headhunter looking for someone to fill a unique role at another well-run, very popular bank closer to home, National Bank of Blacksburg, which I joined in January of this year as Vice President of Administration and Corporate Secretary for both the bank and its holding company. So my brag today is to let you know that this time, I really do believe I found my forever home, because National Bank of Blacksburg has the best heart of any organization I've ever been part of. Not only that, we now have a fully staffed Roanoke. So my second brag of the day includes an introduction to the coolest and most professional group of coworkers who just happen to be bankers. You heard this earlier. I'd like to introduce them again. With me today is Brooke Miller, who is our Vice President of Lending. Brooke, if you'll stand. Chelsea Granville, who is our Regional Manager overseeing branches in Roanoke, Lynchburg, Stanton, and Mosboro. Harvey Brookins, who is our Senior Executive for the region. John Quinette McKee, whose first day is today, joined us today. John has come aboard as Vice President of Business Development. And finally, Michelle Keith, my HR journalist who usually works out of the Blacksburg headquarters. So please again give them a warm greeting and be sure to check them out at our new Franklin Road location. Thank you.
Committee Chairwoman Courtney Plaster and James Matthews. This morning, the three of us were planting trees as part of the environmental activities our club undertakes. Well done to all of you.
Thank you. Now, on our program, I'd like to join the things up here. This is James's last week. So it's James. That's
You're welcome. I managed to do the trick of putting a different week. Go figure, by the time I'm done, I'm going to have to sing. I'm so glad we had this time together. Anyway, my guest this week, Montana Kimmery, native of Concord, North Carolina, and graduate of UNC Charlotte, brought to Roanoke about 5 years ago as in her first nonprofit job and fell in love with our fair city.
and is now going to speak to us about Ronald McDonald House.
Good afternoon. Again, my name is Montana Kimmery. Thank you for the wonderful introduction, James. It is my pleasure and my honor to be with you all today and see so many friendly faces here in the room. You guys are a wonderful, wonderful group. You got Mexican food, you got lobsters, you got pancakes. And supported your pancake breakfast. Big little sausage patties on the tray. We have absolutely so much. I wanted to thank you guys for all the support you give to us. And I'm really excited to share a piece that is so close to us. It's Ronald McDonald House Charities. I would like to know, have a house. It's been here for 40. So it's been here. Welcome. House does. Illness, keeping them together, putting everyone support, really anything and everything you can think of. It's not just a place to sleep, a place to take a shower, a place to do your laundry. It's really a home away from home for these families that have to travel to the Roanoke area to get vital treatment for their child. It's stuff you don't ever really want to think. Getting sick and someone's family's whole life getting put on hold. Because that's what you do when your kid is sick. You drop everything, your job, your bills sometimes, and you do what you need to do to make sure your child gets that treatment that is so vitally necessary. So, if at all possible, we're going to try to play this video because I think it really puts it into a good image of what the Ronald McDonald House does. Doctors and nurses, we have mom and dad. We don't provide treatment, but we do. So again, I always like to share that because I think it really does put into an image of a little piece of what we do inside of those walls and on that property for these families. I always like to also start off with telling a little story that may be a little bit closer to home. And we have a plethora of families that come through that house, but this is one that kind of has recently touched my heart. They actually stayed with us back in 2023. They checked in about 3 months after I had started the job. And this family was one of the first that really laid on my heart. This is the Scaletta family. They are from Roanoke, Virginia. You will see little Aubrey there in the wheelchair and her twin sister, and then her mom and dad and brother. Like I said, this family checked in under very sad circumstances. And it's a story that it makes your heart drop when you hear it. And the mom, Lauren, wrote us this little excerpt that I want to read to you today. And this is going to be the hardest thing for me to get through. So if I can get through this without crying, we're going to be doing good. So this is from Lauren. She said, on May 17th, our daughters were in the back seat of my husband's truck. While riding, they pulled out some ratchet straps from underneath the seat. One of the ends of the straps wrapped around Aubrey's legs and the other fell out the back window. Somehow the straps wrapped themselves around the drive shaft and partially amputated both of Aubrey's feet. The accident was just a few miles from Carillion NRV, and so my husband rushed her to the emergency department. Shortly after getting her stabilized, she was flown to Roanoke Memorial Hospital. There it was decided that in order to save her feet, she would need extensive emergency surgery. The days following surgery, Aubrey stayed on the pediatric ICU floor. My husband and I stayed in the room with her, but after days of not sleeping, we were put in contact with the Ronald McDonald House. My husband checked us in and we took turns staying there for a month while Aubrey had several more surgeries on her legs. The Ronald McDonald House was truly a gift for our entire family while our daughter was in the hospital. Knowing we had a place steps away to get a nice shower and rest our minds and bodies was of great comfort. Aubrey's twin sister, Grayson, also enjoyed being close to her sister so she could have longer visits. And that right there is why we do what we do and why we are so important to these families. Without the Ronald McDonald House, they would be traveling over an hour back and forth to get to see their child or be with their child, or be away from home in their support system. And that's, why we are there, to give them not only a place to sleep and all the amenities of a hotel, but to give them that comfort and that support. So this is a picture of the house. It's located on the corner of 23rd and Jefferson. We are approximately 2-3 blocks from the hospital, so you can walk, but none of our guests and our families ever have to walk. We have a shuttle that takes them back and forth to the hospital. A lot of people actually don't know we have 2 programs. The first obviously being the house. It's a 25,000 square foot house, built more than 41 years ago. It was originally built to be a Ronald McDonald House, has always been a Ronald McDonald House. It has 18 bedrooms. Each bedroom has 2 queen-size beds, a private bathroom. We have a kitchen, a dining facility, a playroom, library. Our playroom's actually in the process of being renovated, so we're really, really excited about that. Again, it's a lot like a hotel, and I give tours throughout the house and people are like, this is like a nice hotel, but it's really a lot more than that to people. It's a home away from home because everyone that is staying there is going through a similar circumstance to that family. Every family there has a sick child of some kind of situation, and so it's not uncommon that we see moms getting a cup of coffee in the morning, sitting down and just having a moment to have respite with each other because they're with someone that understands what they're going through. One of my favorite quotes, it says, when my friends and families ask me what the Ronald McDonald House is like, I tell them it's a cross between a hotel and their grandma's house. And that's really what it feels like. It's an older building. It's got that homey feel, almost like grandma's house. And that's what it is. We'll make sure your bellies are always fed, your bed is always warm, and you've got the comforts and support of a family, even if you're hundreds of miles away from the rest of your support system. And then the other program we have, a lot of people know about the house, but they don't know about the Ronald McDonald House Family Room. This is a place located on the 14th floor of Carillion Memorials, right outside of the NICU. And it's a place where families, whether you're staying in the house or you're local, and are just, in the hospital for your child, you can go to this room in the hospital, be steps away from your child, get a cup of coffee, get a snack, get one of our Hearts to Go lunches. Just have a place away from maybe a noisy waiting room that's got a lot of emotions packed with it. It's just a place of respite for those families, quite literally steps away from their child's bedside. So to talk a little bit about who we serve, here is listed some of the top counties and regions we serve. To be eligible to stay in the house, you have to live 25 miles or more. That's not a hard boundary for us. If someone's 21 miles and they don't have access to a car, obviously they're going to be eligible to stay with us. We just want to make sure those that have that geographic barrier of getting medical treatment for their child no longer have to face that barrier. They can stay with their child and not worry about, how am I going to pay for a hotel? How am I going to afford to eat out? Or, if I buy groceries, where am I going to cook them? Those are never things that they have to worry about. Our house serves over 700 families a year. And our top situations, diagnoses we see, about 60 to 70% of our families are what we call our NICU families. So children that are born prematurely and will be in the hospital, usually not just for a couple of nights, it's usually months or more at a time, weeks, depending on the situation. We also see a lot of surgery, whether that's planned or emergency. And we also take families that are battling pediatric oncology. So childhood cancer, it's stuff you don't want to think about kids ever having to go through. But especially with the incoming building of the cancer center, it's something that we understand that the need that already exists is something we are struggling to serve and keep up with the capacity for that. But with the incoming cancer center, that need is only going to grow. And so how can we face the issues and the challenges that lie ahead of us and get ahead of that, so when those families come knocking at our door, we're prepared to take them in. So a little bit about the history of the Ronald McDonald House. I think it is such an interesting story. To give you the short and condensed version of it, back in the 70s, there was a British doctor. Her name was Audrey Evans, and she worked at CHOP, the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and she treated children with cancer, specifically neuroblastomas was her specialty. She later on invented the Audrey staging system. So stage 1, 2, 3, 4 of pediatric cancer, that was her work. But she, throughout her work, she watched these families that had these sick kids, and they were sleeping in waiting rooms or on the floor of the hospital, struggling to make ends meet to just be able to stay with their child while they get this medical treatment. So she had this idea of a place where families could go, and it could be completely free, and they could stay close to their child while they're getting this medical treatment that they need. And so she took this idea and she ended up running into a football player. At the time, he played for the Philadelphia Eagles. His name was Fred Hill. And Fred Hill had a wife named Fran, and they had a daughter named Kim. Kim was battling leukemia, and that's why she was in the hospital. And Audrey ran into them, learned of their situation, and she said, "This is my time. This is my time to make this dream a reality." And so she explained it to Fred, and Fred was like, "Absolutely, like, we have capabilities to take care of ourselves, but what are all these other people doing?" And so he took that sentiment back to his team, and they did a telethon called the Eagles Fly, raised a bunch of money, and the coach at the time was good friends with the McDonald's CEO, and so he caught wind of it and wanted to get involved and said, "We're going to give you 25 cents for every Shamrock Shake sold for the rest of time." And that was McDonald's first buy-in. And that's, they took all that money, bought a house in downtown Philadelphia, renovated it. It's 27 rooms. And that was the first Ronald McDonald House back in October 15th of 1974. And the need and the idea was just absolutely addictive. The fact that this was not a problem isolated to Philadelphia. It was happening across the world, really. So our house was built May 5th of 1984, so just 10 years later, and we were the 62nd house built. So that just shows you in 10 years, more than 50 some houses, Ronald McDonald houses were built. Today, there's more than 400 worldwide, just houses. And it's pretty much, I tell people, anywhere there's a major children's hospital, you're going to find a Ronald McDonald house. So a little bit of how to get involved with us and how to really support this organization and the mission that it has. I always tell people it's the 3 T's: your time, your talent, and your treasure. A couple of examples: hosting a wish list drive for us. Imagine having 50 people in your house and no snacks. It doesn't go over very well for very long. So we are in constant need of supplies, whether that's individually wrapped snacks, cleaning supplies, toys for the kids. If your business or your organization likes to do drives of things, that's a great opportunity for that. We also have a program called Meals from the Heart. Every single night, we have a hot home-cooked meal for all of our families. And that is only possible by the support of the community. It's usually church groups or volunteer groups that come in and cook a hot meal of their choice for the families, and it's served buffet style. We also have breakfast and lunch options for families, but I always tell people you do not want me in the kitchen. So I'm very, very thankful to have people come and help cook. And if we don't have a volunteer group, one of our house managers cooks a dinner. So you're never going to go hungry in that place, I promise you. Volunteers in general, we're always looking for people to come help. It takes a village to keep that place up and running. Our full-time staff is 7 people, and so it is a very small but mighty crew. But we couldn't do it without the support in the community of people like you guys that come and help make sandwiches or come and help disinfect the playroom. I'd say if I could split myself about 50 times, we'd be fine, but unfortunately that's not the case. Also collecting tab tops. So if you drink soda or adult beverages or energy drinks or anything that's got the little pull tabs, we collect those. And a lot of people ask, what do you do with those pop tops? We sort them out and take them to a metal salvaging company and get cash for the weight of those items. It's a free, easy way for kids, for schools to get involved, and it raises a lot of awareness for the house when you're walking around the family gathering, pulling everyone's pop tops off. It gives you an opportunity to talk about the house and the mission it has and how important the work it is. And I would be without a miss to mention the support of this group. Kiwanis has very generously supported our organization this year through the Hearts to Go program, and also had volunteers to come help make the sandwiches. So this program, we pretty much pack lunch bags in a little brown paper bag at the house, and we take them over to the family room, and all the families that come in get a pre-packaged lunch that they're welcome to eat there, take back to the child's room, pretty much just take it with them so they're not having to pay for a lunch, whether that's DoorDashed to the hospital or eating in the cafeteria, which gets very pricey if you're doing it every single day. So it's a great service project that you guys have supported, and we are very, very thankful. So I've kind of sped through this because I know there would be questions. So I would love to answer any questions you have. If you've never seen the house, I'd love to offer you a personal tour of the house. I think putting your eyes on that place and truly seeing the work that it does boots on the ground makes it real for a lot of people. And just being there with the family, seeing them come and go, it's the reality for a lot of these people. So I would love to give you a personal tour if you've never seen the house. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. So the question was, what is the annual budget and what is the biggest need for the house? Which are both very good questions. So to keep that place up and running, again, families have no bill when they walk out of there. It doesn't matter if they're staying for one night or 211 days straight, which is the longest stay I have seen personally. They're walking out with no bill. So to be able to do that, it takes a lot of money to keep the lights on, the water running, make sure everyone is fed and taken care of. So our annual budget this year is $1.3 million. And a lot of people think, or there's the common misconception that McDonald's funds us completely, which is just not true. McDonald's is a huge supporter of us, and we couldn't do what we do without them. But right now they are contributing about 20% of our annual budget, which means the other 80% we have to come up with on our own, whether that's through fundraising events that we do, just general donations, planned giving. There's a lot of different avenues to support the house, monetarily speaking, but we couldn't do it without groups like you guys, and it's really individuals that keep that place up and running. In terms of the biggest need, I mean, money is what keeps the world going around and keeping the lights on. But besides that, really just, the snacks, the goods, the supplies for these families. We are constantly trying to make sure we have enough to support them. Whether it's, like I said, your time, your talent, and your treasure. Those are the three ways that you can really support the house. Yeah, so for the general bedding of the house, we actually have linens that are donated to us. It's a company called Handcraft, and they come in and cycle our bedding every day and clean it for us and return it. So there are companies out there that support us in that way. Same thing with like lawn care. One Earth Landscaping comes and does all of our landscaping. So again, if you know companies that are willing to donate their time or their talents, it takes a huge financial weight off of us to be able to do that. That's a great example. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay, awesome. One more question? Yes, sir. When did it first come about and how? So the house here was built May 5th, 1984. The property, I believe there was another vacant house on that property, and they ended up clearing it. There is a building, original building, kind of up left on the hill. If you've ever been there, we call it the carriage house. That was part of the original estate that was there. We've left it, and it's part of. We just use it for storage right now. It may eventually get repurposed. But again, the facility that was built to be a Ronald McDonald House, and the Junior League of Roanoke Valley was actually one of the main groups that was influential in getting a Ronald McDonald House here. They advocated for it and took it to RMHC Global. And we got the licenses for it. They did a capital campaign and they built it because there was such a need for families that were going to Carilion. But that's a great question. And we have a lot of history and photo books in the house that have some of those old pictures. I would invite you to come see them. There's actually a table in our parlor It's I think it's an oak tree, but it's a slab of that tree. And the tree was originally on that property when they tore I guess the building that was originally there down. So there's a lot of old history there, and it's definitely really cool. So I'd love to invite you out to see it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Montana has asked for her honorarium to go to Ronald McDonald Charity. You're right. He's gonna have a picture. Okay, that was very informative. It's right here in our neighborhood, and they do excellent work. We appreciate that so much. Thank you. Well, I've got to say, James Matthews been up here 6 weeks, and in 6 weeks, we've had 35 brags, $612. Do you think this has got anything to do with James? We may not let him go away. So we are doing great in our brags. So prove me wrong that it's not James who's bringing in all this money. So we'll see next week. No, it's James. Thank you. All right, next week, our program will be Envision Williamson Road by Dwayne Dardine. So we look forward to seeing you. And one of our grants today said, it's the power of the community that makes this world go around. And I think we and what we do as a community to empower our community that they can and serve their community is just wonderful. So thank you, Kiwanis, and thank you, grant recipients. Thank you. Jared.